Hey, what's up, everybody? Shaun T here. Welcome to Trust and Believe. Today's episode, while it may be a little quick, is really just about firing you up about what it is that you're doing with your life. A lot of times we dive deep into subjects that make us think right or think left or think down or think up. And today, I just want you to feel good about who you are and what you're doing in your life. So get ready to trust and believe.
Somebody say hell yeah!
No. What's up?
He's better than Oprah.
Come on, y'all.
This is Shaun T, and it's time to trust and believe. All right, welcome everybody. First of all, my name is Shaun T. I'm so excited that you joined me today for this episode of Trust and Believe. If you're new to Trust and Believe, I'm happy you actually joined on this particular episode because this episode is about pushing you to be the best that you can be. A lot of times we wake up with a negative mindset. Even if we don't want to, we wake up with a negative mindset. Not that we wake up with a negative mindset on purpose, but we wake up always thinking about, oh my gosh, what is it that I have to do today? And a lot of times when we think about what it is that we have to do today, we think about how we're going to get through it rather than think about how we're going to enjoy it. Did you hear that? Sometimes we think about how we're going to get through things rather than think about how we are actually going to enjoy the process as we go along. So what I want you to do at this very moment is to think about the things that you have to do today. Or think about the things that you have to do tomorrow. And when you think about that, instead of saying, oh, wow, I have this long road ahead of me of all these things that I have to do, I want you to think about, oh, wow, this is how I'm going to make each of these individual things great. This morning, I woke up, I was like, I can't have a team call. I have to connect with people on Instagram and social media. I then have to check some messages, check some emails. I know some of my team members had some calls. I knew I was going to have some more calls. I knew I was going to have to record a podcast and I have to record another podcast. And then I have a mentorship call with one of my mentees from the Safe Space. And then I wanted to create a TikTok video. And then I have to prepare for wine night on Friday. And so instead of me being like, oh my gosh, I have all these things to do, which is what my mind started to do. First of all, can I just say that just having to work out with Shaun T is enough of a mind bleep on its own, right? So instead of thinking of all these things that I have to do and feeling like I have to climb a mountain and feel like I have to, climb Mount Everest, if you will, I was like, okay, how am I going to enjoy this? Well, I know that what I'm going to talk about on my live today on Instagram is going to help people. I personally get excited about helping people. I know that working out is going to make me feel good. Notice I didn't say it's going to make me look good because looking good doesn't happen overnight. I just knew that working out today was going to make me feel good. Did I know that I was going to be in a lot of pain? Absolutely. But I just believe that I'm going to feel good, and I do. And I knew that after I worked out, I was going to have to come to this space. And instead of thinking like, wow, I have to make sure my mindset is right and doing all this, I was like, I want to do something and talk about something today that's going to excite people. And then after this, I have another call or another podcast recording. And while I know it's definitely going to be fun, it's also, I have to focus, I have to pay attention. I'm like, wow, I'm going to have to use brain power. But instead of thinking of the things that are going to be tough about it, I think about how am I going to use this opportunity, this conversation, or the conversation that I'm going to do after this to enlighten people, to bring people's mindset in a place where they can actually trust and believe, to continue to provide lessons for people, to give tips, to give a roadmap to the way out, which is kind of what we're talking about today, a roadmap to the way out or the roadmap to the way in to a place where you can actually believe. And then after this, obviously TikTok. I'm like, I love doing TikTok videos. And then preparing for Wine Night Fridays. I love being fresh. I love being fast. I love spending time with Scott. So I look at all of these things that I have to do. And instead of looking at them in a way of, man, I have so many things to do, I look at it in a way of, wow, these are all the exciting things I'm going to do today. And this is what's going to happen when I actually do them, so that I enjoy it. I remember when I was, I think maybe 21 years old, and I was teaching 19 fitness or group exercise classes a week on top of some dance classes, in addition to my final year. I believe it was my final year in university, or maybe it was my first senior year, because I went to school for 5 years. I remember it being a Sunday night, because that was my only day off, and having this feeling of that everything was just absolutely heavy. And I used to be like, oh my gosh, like I have to get through this. And every time I would finish, you know, a class or a shift, I used to check it off like, wow, thank God that's done. Thank God that's done. Thank God that's done. And then I was just like, why in the world am I rushing my life? Right? And then even though it was really tough and it took me a long time to kind of get through this, I just started being like, you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this. Because here's the thing. Everything that you do, especially if you put your heart and soul into it, everything that you do requires extra doing. Let me help you understand what that means. Even though whether it's a post on Instagram, whether it's, you giving a presentation at work, whether it's going on vacation and having fun, everything you do requires a tremendous amount of extra work. A lot of people, in my opinion, look at social media and the success of anybody who uses social media as a platform to be successful, and they say, wow, that's easy. You can ask anyone that when they put up a post, you can say, how much time did you actually spend on that particular post? And they will tell you, some people spend an hour on one post. And a lot of you might be like, what? Why would you do that? But people do, and you want to come across the right way. You want to have your intentions. Or if you're giving a presentation at work, the presentation itself is not the only thing that you're doing. You did a ton of prep work to get you to the place where you can stand in front of the room and give this presentation. Now, here's the important thing about giving a presentation, which goes in line with what I'm talking about in terms of everything you do requires extra doing. Can you imagine a person who does not like getting up in front of a room to speak now having to get up in front of a room to speak, on top of having to teach and help people understand? So the stress or the toll that it takes you to actually put your mind to do something, to be successful at doing it, it's a lot. And so I want you to kind of look at everything you're doing and understand that everything you're doing is also requiring a lot of extra energy, which takes me to my next point on how you can continue to thrive and live and be the best you can do, and be the best that you can be, and do the best that you can do by making each day happy. Energy is such an important part of our lives that a lot of people just kind of look over. Something as simple as if you get on a train or a subway in New York City and you sit next to somebody, you immediately know, not even by looking at them, you're just kind of like, what's that energy? Like, I feel that. Or sometimes you'll get ready to walk into one of those trains or onto the subway and you're like, I'm going to go in this door. You have the ability to feel energy in a way that you don't even probably understand or know that you're processing it. Now, the reason why I gave that example is because your energy feeds off to other people's energy and the energy around you. And so I think it's really important that we go into each day knowing and being able to adjust our energy so that we are in a really good place, in a really good energetic space. I remember before I went to therapy, I would have like a day planned, and it would be a really great day planned. It would be really exciting. I would be, I knew everything that I was doing was great, but because I had all of this weight on me from my past, I was unable to really enjoy the day. I'll go even deeper into that. And I may have told the story before, but when I was a kid, when I was like 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, I hated birthdays. I hated Christmas. I hated Easter. I hated cookouts. I hated holidays. I hated Thanksgiving. Anytime where everyone was going to be sitting around the table acting like everything is dandy and fine. I would say more like 8 years old it started. But I had been molested, and so I had to fake happiness. And, you know, and that carried with me for a really long time before I started therapy. And once I was able to release that, the day of amazing and fun things felt really great. It didn't feel so daunting anymore. It felt like, I remember being like, wow, this is what it's like to wake up and want to enjoy the day and have really great energy. And that happened after I met Scott, after, you know, just kind of like the happiest moments of my life, knowing that I was going to be with somebody that was going to be supportive of me forever. And the reason why I bring up spouses, or it could be roommates for you, or it could be whomever you're living with right now, is because your energy directly feeds onto other people. So in order for you to have a great day, you have to provide really great energy, and as best you can, provide great energy to yourself by working on yourself, and then being able to have that good energy, because it really feeds off into other people that you live with, or you work with, or you encounter each and every day. We all know that there is a scale of a good day or a bad day. Some people say, how are you doing? They don't really care. It's just kind of like a figure of speech. But when I ask you, how are you doing? How are you doing? So whether you're listening to this at this moment or you're watching this on YouTube, I want you to tell me how you're doing right now. Like, if you're by yourself and you're listening to this, how are you? And then the next question I want to ask you is, why are you doing that great? Or why are you not doing that great? And then the third question I want to ask you, and I know I'm asking these rather quickly, is on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being energetically super positive, on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you doing right now? Now, if you're a 1, 2, 3, or 4, I'm going to say, okay, let's sit back. Let's take a moment to think about not only how we're feeling. Like, I feel really bad. Why do you feel really bad? Right? And then you could say, I feel really bad because I got in an argument with my spouse. Why did you get in an argument with your spouse? Because she or he did X. Okay, cool. How did that make you feel when they actually did it? Right? And then the next thing I'll say is, what action steps did you take to address the issue? And some people might like, oh, well, we had a really bad argument. And so one of the things that I do to fix a situation like that, if we have an argument, if Scott and I has an argument, there's a couple of things you can do. You can make a point to sometimes send in a message, even if you don't want to be in the same space as them, and say, I know we just had this. My goal is that I want peace. I'm ready to talk whenever you want. Sometimes it's giving a hug. Sometimes it's just writing a letter. The reason why I say that is because you have the ability to change the energy around you, not change the person, because the person is going to, that's their own person. Like, they can do whatever they want. But you have the ability to change the energy by choosing to how you react and respond to situations out there, because then it's a compound effect of, how the energy is going to progress or regress, right? The negative energy can progress or regress as well as the positive energy. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how are you? And ask yourself those questions, like, how did I get here? If you feel really great about who you are right now, congratulations. Congratulations for being able to maneuver your way through the things that are barriers in your life, that are holding you back, that are, just putting a dent in your energy and your energetic space. And again, back to the people, if you're not feeling that great, congratulations for recognizing it. And now you utilize those tools that we talked about. Communication is number one. Being, sitting. Some people meditate sitting and sitting one with your energy so that you know what it is and how you can push forward with that energy. And utilizing those tools and tactics will help you just have a really great day. Now, back to where we began. You have all of these things happening in your life. You have all of these things happening in your day. How are you going to push forward? How are you going to move forward? You're going to move forward by jotting down all of the things that you enjoy about the things that you have to do. Even when we don't want to do things, we end up doing them because we have a feeling of we have to or we need to. Because needs and wants are two different things, right? Needs are non-negotiables. I have to brush my teeth. If you want to live, you have to go to the bathroom. You can't just drink water and not go to the bathroom, right? I know it's simple, but you can't do that. These are things you need. What do you need to do? What do you need to have to make you happy? What are the things that you want in your life that's going to make you happy? And the things that you don't want to do, if you don't want to do something, you then have to say, is it a need or does someone want me to do it? Because if someone wants you to do it and it's not a part of your plan, and if you don't do it, it's not going to negatively affect your life, and you don't have to be fake about doing it, then don't do it. And the reason why I say that is because we all wake up, again, with a to-do list. And some things need to be taken off because it's just not going to do you any good. Now, understand, I'm not telling you to quit. I'm not telling you to give up. I'm not telling you to not acknowledge what it is that you have to do. I'm simply saying some things have to be removed from your to-do list because you don't need it, nor do you want it, right? And you can say, well, someone asked me to do it and I want to make them happy. Okay, you want it. But at the end of the day, you need to look at your to-do list. You need to look at your plan, making sure there are pieces of each of those that are going to make you happy and thrive so that you can get through the day feeling really great, not just about who you are, but what it is that you're going to do. And just kind of go into a bigger space. What you do will really impact the world. Some people say, like, I'm not doing anything. I don't feel like what I'm doing is impacting the world. Well, if you kind of think about this, what you do for your job then helps somebody else in your job, then helps your boss or whatever, and then helps the company make money. And the company is providing something to a lot of people. If you have a company, it obviously has people that have invested in that, be it a product or investors, right? So don't ever think that what you're doing is not changing the world or reaching for the stars. I remember my mom worked at this place called Penn Linen, and it was a linen company. And I believe that she went in the company and she folded the linens for hospitals and, the towels and the bedding and everything. And I remember while the job was secure, I know she wasn't happy doing it. I remember her getting off work and just kind of being not necessarily thrilled, happy that she had a job, but not necessarily thrilled about what she was doing. And I definitely believe that you should change your environment in terms of your workspace if it's not doing you any good. However, I wish I had the opportunity to say, well, Mom, number one, you're doing really great because you're making money. Your supervisor is probably happy because you're doing really good. Her boss is happy because they have to, report to the CEO. The company's thriving, and people in the hospital are getting clean sheets, right? While somebody might be like, well, I don't necessarily want to do that. There's a way for it to be great. I remember when I worked at Friendly's, I had to make sure I didn't fall and bust my neck. And I was like, I have to go here. I have to go to work. I have to go to work. But you know what? I would look out of that ice cream window and I would see the kids coming there and the families coming in there. And sometimes the parents would be, you could tell they were just like, well, now I know they were just like, let's just go out and get these kids to do something. And it brought joy to me that the kids were happy. And I would make I put a little more ice cream in there. It's probably really bad. But I would do something extra to enjoy the job, because I was like, wow, like people are coming here and they're happy, or, you know, it's giving a parent some release just to like have their kids come be in a happy environment and happy energy. Anyway, everything you do, even if you don't necessarily want to do it and you want to change your personal game, it has a meaning. And if it doesn't have enough meaning for you, change it. But your everyday to-do list is filled with things that are great. It's filled with things that you want to do and filled with things that you find joy. And if it's not helping you, or if you can't find any joy, find a way to make a change so that you can wake up every day in a positive mindset and dig deeper in your life. Thank you guys so much for joining. I really enjoyed this podcast because I just love empowering people to just, you know, find peace in your life and find happiness and find just one piece of joy. I hope you guys have a chance to leave a review for Trust and Believe podcast, and I hope you share and make sure you subscribe and tell all your friends to come hang out with Shaun T and sometimes some special guests. I appreciate you. I love you for being you. I love you for watching and listening, and I'll see you next time.